Let's learn. Let's learn.
Okay, so I happen to see over here, I'm just looking quickly to find it. Over here, I have this, it's a pretty new book, Brachos Hatzlacha. Guess of who it's about?
You.
It's about Menachem Kanievsky, antidotes, advice, and hogus, brachos, and skulas of Moran Sarah Torah, written by his grandson, one of his son-in-law of Shraga Steinman, who's the son-in-law of Kanievsky. There's a little chapter there about things that he had said, he heard, that Reb Chaim had said from the Chazon Ish, and it says the Chazon Ish for the month following his surgery ate and drank without a bracha. Since for him a bracha without kavanah, where he knew how to have kavanah, was not considered a bracha at all. Which
Is that halachically sound?
Listen,
Don't ask
you
questions.
didn't have a bigger Ish Halachim than the Chazon Ish, you know what I mean?
That's for sure.
Wait, so can I do the same thing?
No, I'll tell you, because by us you have the famous Mishnah Berurah. It says that if you don't have kavanah in the first bracha Shemona Esrei,
Yeah, you have
to daven over. But the Mishnah Berurah, right, since the chances are when we daven over, we won't have kavanah again. We don't do that, and we don't go back to daven it over. Right, Rav Yosef?
Allah, it's not only Mishnah Berurah, it's Allah. Yeah, that's Mishnah Berurah's
right.
Allah.
But Chazon Ish did have kavanah, so it's different. It's in real life he had kavanah. This was an instance so he couldn't have kavanah. By us, if we didn't make brachas because we don't have kavanah, we would never make brachas. But in any case, you see this concept at least that we were learning about. That he had said davening without kavanah is not davening. It's a reading lesson. You're called up to the front of the class to read from a book as part of the class. You're learning reading. So to Chazon Ish, for him to have made brachas then, and then there would have been brachas he held. In any case, he halacha mice didn't make brachas. That's the name of Reb Chaim Kanievsky. Okay, you turn the page to Kuf Tzaddik Ches.
Yeah.
Okay, and you got Keinochi.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's see what it says here. I'm sorry. Keinochi saders toichin tfilascha belibcha. Therefore, my brother, prepare, be masada what you're going to daven about in your heart. And make what's in your heart parallel with your words. It should go together. And your intention in both of them, your thoughts and your words, so one purpose, should be only to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Stop doing whatever else you're doing. You're not allowed to do. You shouldn't be doing other things when you're davening. Kvar means to tie down, to bind your senses, your thoughts. Tie them down that they should not be involved in anything else. At the time that you're davening.
What about your needs that you think about? You have certain needs that you're davening for.
So somewhere we look kavanah. If you're saying we're fine, you have to be thinking about someone being sick, right?
Right. Or I'm a little sick. I have my problems, right? It could be right. It could be both things.
It's davening for those things, but didn't he say something? Where did I see that?
The Lord bless.
Can I share that with us? Can I share that with everyone? Or we learned it together. The Matas Chinuch had quoted at the beginning somewhere. The reason you say the first three, he had quoted from the Beis Elikim. Why do I say the first three brachas of praise? It looks like I'm just trying to, bribe Hashem by praising him first. What's the purpose? We can't do that.
It's our acknowledgement. Hashem doesn't really.
Our acknowledgement that Hashem is able to do all those things, and then we can move on and ask the things, right? Because we need to believe.
I believe.
It's all about bitachon, right? Over here also, Chaim said a few times, he said, the koyach of a bracha from a tzaddik is all dependent on how much you have emunas chachamim. If you don't believe, the bracha can't work without emunas chachamim. He said, tefillah doesn't work unless you believe that it works. Believe that you're talking to Hashem, believe that He could help you.
Well, that's really difficult to prove.
Rav Chaim said a bracha is effective to the extent that the recipient of a bracha has emunah. The fact that he thinks he's getting the bracha from a Talmud Chacham, parentheses, even if it's not really the case, the bracha be effective. In the merit of the emunah, the bracha is effective. According to the amount of emunah the recipient has, that's how much the bracha will help. So if you don't believe, you don't have that emunah chacham, that the bracha from a Rav, from a Talmud Chacham, that it helps. So according to him, it won't work. You gotta believe. It's the emunah. It's the emunah in the koyach of the tzaddik. But the same thing, I guess, in tefillah, if you're davening and you don't believe, you're doing it because you were raised that way. But you don't really believe Hashem is all powerful and He could change it. Then your tefillah is lacking. But I don't know. I got off to that. But in any case, so I think Rabbi Ganovsky that. You're right. I mean, I'm supposed to be focused on what I'm davening about. Right? I am allowed to have that. 1 minute. I'm looking for what this is over here in. Sadus Teichen Tfiloscha. Oh, in Tak. In Taken Ochi. Oh, yeah. Okay, it doesn't say anything. Okay. 10 Matzcha Dugma says, give yourself, compare, give yourself an example, compare this. How would you act if you were in front of a king? You're standing in front of him, you're praising him, you're thanking him, you're listing off all the good he's done for you. Isn't it true that while you're doing that, you wouldn't be busy with something else? You wouldn't be thinking about other things. You'd be focused. You're talking to the king. You're not busy tying your shoe. You're not busy, whatever. You're focused on, you're talking to the king. You wouldn't be thinking about other things. And that's even though, this is true, even though the king doesn't know what you're thinking. You could be thinking something else, and the king would never know. He can't read your thoughts. But you would never be thinking of something else when you're standing in front of the king and praising him. Okay, if so, so certainly, you're acting in that way when you talk to Hashem. Who sees your outward expressions and sees what's going on inside of you. What's hidden, and you reveal the actions. He says, we really should wonder, should be unbelievable. How could you even think? It's like ridiculous. How can you even think of acting in any other way? He says the tefillah is put into your hands. Return monos or because Hashem gave us what? What does that mean? What does that mean? Nemonos or pikodin. Kimosa biyotka inyana. Excuse me. Shahumosa is tochnel yot chavanasan oisal rishus. He gave over to us this idea and put it into our rishus. And he's the only one who looks at it. Explains over here. So klape shar mitzvahs in relation to other mitzvahs. Tefillah mitzvah yechid. This tefillah is the only mitzvah she beinoi the bein kohen. that's between you and Hashem. He says even mitzvahs that we categorize as bein adam l'mokim, right? Lulav. Even shem b'maisa, since there's action involved, yeshli murder bus of adam. So there's always that aspect that you're doing it. People are going to see, or people can see you don't do it. Ukvay shebirach, Menachem Av is Talmidav. Gemara in brachos. When Menachem Av was on his deathbed, he asked the Rabbeinu Barchenu, so he gave a bracha. And his bracha was advice how to reach to attain Yiras Shamayim. V'amar lahem, Gemara in brachos Chof Chesam Beis. Yiratzon Shtei Mori Shamayim Alechem Kumar Basav Adam. You should fear Hashem as much as you fear people. Amar Lei Talmidav Atkan. So his Talmidim, remember, they were Tanoim. He was the great Tana, Menachem Av, and his Talmidim were Tanoim also. Right? They said, that's it? That's your bracha? We should fear Hashem as much as people? Omar lahem u'levai. He said to them, haLevavos, we should get there. Teidu it. He says, I'll bring you a proof. The person doesn't have favor. You're on the other, right? You look around, make sure nobody's looking. Right? But HaKadosh Baruch Hu's looking, right? So if you saw someone looking, you wouldn't do it. And yet you do it though Hashem's looking. So he's saying, fear Hashem not much like you fear a person. Adkan. Uludugma mitzvah tefillin. Gives an example, says Ramatziog. Tefillin. Shemayach basav adamay mitzav alaniach tefillin. If a king would command us upon tefillin, believe suffer, yorish lo yekayam, may be afraid. You have to keep the decree of the king. You have to be afraid not to fulfill it. The same thing as a fear of people. If people would find out you're makirim, the ones who know you, your friends, that you don't put on tefillin bodies, you'd be so embarrassed. Was then you're any other, and you say, I just hope no one should see me doing this avera. No one should see me. And that's all because there's an action involved. It's all in the heart. There's nobody else. Just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows. Did you daven a kavana? Didn't you? Don't we all? Sometimes externally we're there in the tefillah, we come on time, we say the words. Anybody seeing us would think that we've just done a very nice, respectable davening. But we know that somehow we went through Shemona Esrei and we found ourselves as a shalom taking 3 steps back. And how did I get there? I just took 3 steps forward. Nobody knows that but Hashem. You're lacking that aspect of Moira Basav Adam. Rak Moira Shamayim Sheyochad and love it. This person comes to shul and Nes Gufim Shas Tefillah Shakol. Name Bashum Dimyon Sheyiras Bnei Yodam. And there's no aspect there of Yiras Bnei Yodam today. L'Moira Shamayim, and you can't in any way, get the lesson. Use the Moira Basav Adam to enhance your Moira Shamayim. Oynei Ramazeh. There's nothing you can't do. Tefillah shaloi l'shma. Even though it's possible that you could come to shul shaloi l'shma, people will see. And act as if you're davening. As far as the actual davening, which we're defining is dependent on your kavanah b'leiv, it can't be loy l'shma because there's nobody knows about it. There's nothing here. It's all you and Hashem. Either you had kavanah to Hashem. So he's explaining that's what it means over here. It sounds like the Rav understands that it means that it's totally in your hands. You're responsible for it, and there's no exterior thing that can help you there. Nobody else is looking at the tefillah besides him. So it's clear. That only if you daven it the way Hashem has commanded you to. Are you fulfilling that trust that Hashem gave you to daven? He gave you a mitzvah. It's only fulfilled if you do it the way Hashem commanded. And only then will you accept it. And you're acting with that trust. Being the trust that Hashem entrusted you to do it according to its rules. But if when you daven, you don't do it the way you're supposed to in your heart, and here he's adding l'shayin, how you say it, as you should be doing it as a trustworthy servant. So then you're part of those hamoyalim b'nei emunas Hashem that are being moel, they're being miila in the trust of Hashem. Hashem mosel yadam, Hashem gave them. So nema aleim kidor tapuchas heim abanim lo emun bam. They don't have that amuna. They don't. Okay, now that's really the end of the aspect of the second type of mitzvah, which is things that encompass both Maisa and Machshava. And the third part was the things that are just Maisa. Okay, now the third part was which is all the mitzvahs Maisa, tefillin, sukkah, lulav. Mitzvah lulav, v'achas mishar mitzvah, she's kanulel. When the other mitzvahs we listed before, hanechlos v'chayv kazeh shalom mitzvahs. That's a part of this group. So the way to do is that before you do it, you have to have the intent that you're doing it as a mitzvah. You're doing it for Hashem. So that the root, the act will come from the tzayis mitzvah sabari. It's coming from my obligation to fulfill, to keep the mitzvahs of Hashem. The gather the right, and the intention is that behind that is to make Hashem greater, lift him up. Praise him, on all the good things, the great things he's done for us, and all the chesed he does with you. So that's my intention. I'm fulfilling Hashem's commandment. In order, by doing that, I'm expressing my hakaras hatov. I'm expressing the greatness of Hashem. I'm submissive to Hashem. I'm machniya myself to Hashem, to His wants, to His desires. I say ritzoncha, ritzonoi, right? Make your will Hashem's will. There's an order that you should attain that the mitzvah is done. I guess in all words, the right way. But the beginning, the end, so when you middle and the end, and in order, excuse me, that you have to have the intent at the beginning. He's saying before you do the mitzvah, and in order that the mitzvah should be done the whole way through, out of Yerushalayim, with the desire, it should be accepted to Hashem, and I should be distant from Hashem's anger. My will is to do your ratzon. Now, at the beginning,
weren't we saying a couple of days ago that you can be thinking about other things by doing mitzvahs? And it's like, oh, you have the kavanah to do, but once you're doing it, you think about the Mets or something like that.
No, you're right. I was wondering the same thing. Let's just, so we finish this thing, do the next 4 or 5 lines, and then if you have time, let me look around for a minute. The mitzvah, you should have it in front of you. The example I gave you at the beginning. How would you have acted if the king would have given you a job? And that was no. Tishi, where did he break it up? Okay. And I don't see where he gave us that motion. I don't see where he gave it. Okay. Well, Tira Be'ez Hashem, and then you see with the help of Hashem, Shevarecha Yasos Avodah Hashem B'Chavitzos Rizos, that your limbs will fulfill the mitzvah with a clarity, with quickness. I thought of my ways, and I set my ways to your mitzvahs. Chashti, it's quick. And as if you have that intention before I'm fulfilling. I understand it's the Ratzon Hashem, it's a command of Hashem, and I'm doing this as expression of fulfilling Hashem's will and Hashem's test they did to me. I would certainly go and do it in a very quick way. Let me see what he says over here on this. Okay. Mitzvahs mashpia yiras Hashem al Adam. Okay. L'psukim el nira k'mashi said Rabbeinu Leil she'inin sh'asiyas mitzvahs. Hapol yetu l'ashpia yiras shamayim b'pinis v'atei so masham kevshon kim l'yiras. Okay, he doesn't explain. He doesn't add anything here. And does the English one, does he add anything? Duties of the limb. I don't know. Here it sounds like he's saying that my intention while I do the whole tefillah is that I'm doing Ritzayin Hashem. Before that, he certainly said otherwise. You're certainly right, Ron. He said beforehand. He had said beforehand. It said, here it was then. You were commanded to do some action by the king. You wouldn't hold back at all. Nothing would be too hard. You'd go try to do with the best of your ability. Okay, so that's the other part. Well, just like when a king commands you to do something, you go all out. So the same thing here, but he did say, here, if I'm thinking of other things, I guess the answer, it sounds like this. I have to be thinking that I'm doing a mitzvah, but it doesn't mean I can't, while I'm thinking I'm doing a mitzvah, think of other things. What am I doing? I'm shaking the loaf. I'm certainly shaking the loaf. If at the same time I'm thinking about the fact that I have to go shopping, That's what he said at the beginning. It doesn't take away from the mitzvah. What he's saying here is that I do have to have the intention that I'm doing a mitzvah. Okay. We'll continue tomorrow. Siri.